1 week from the NFL draft, and I've got my football crew around me. D Wood, let's talk about what we're looking to see. Give me one thing that you're looking for, Damian Woody, in round one.
Yeah, how about the Jets trading up to go get one of those elite wide receivers? The Jets have 4 picks in the top 44. They have plenty of ammo to go out there and go get, whether it's a Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson. How about the Jets moving up and going up and getting their guy?
All right, to be clear, the Jets have the 2nd pick in this draft. The overwhelming expectation is they'll take a defensive pass rusher. But then D Wood is talking about moving up from 16 to try and get one of the elite playmakers in this draft. How do you like it?
I think we could do better. I think we take the pass rusher at 2. We take a wide receiver at 16, then trade up at the bottom of the 1st to get the quarterback. So to me, there's a wide receiver should be there at 16. So we could do even better.
Okay, now you're singing my song.
Yes.
So now you're talking about the Jets not just moving up for the – you take like an Omar Cooper or someone like that and then actually make the move for the quarterback.
Yeah, and then next year, Greedy, imagine when Ty Simpson works out, you have 3 first-round picks in the 2027 draft. With all these teams that'll need quarterbacks, you could turn those 3 first-round picks into a lot of other opportunities. So to me, they're in a great position.
I'm getting excited about all of that. What do you make of this, Graziano? All this wheeling and dealing at the top of the first round.
That would come down to how they feel about Ty Simpson. If they do think he's the guy for the future, or even potentially, then that move makes sense. So I think you might see it. Like, they have so many picks in this year's draft and again in next year's draft, especially high picks next year. They could make a move to go up from 16 to get the receiver they like, but that would probably signal that they're not interested in making another trade at the end of the round.
I wish you could all see the look on our stage manager, Brandon's face, as I roll around back here. He lives for me to be in the right spot. He's extremely unhappy with me right now.
He does.
I'm going to hear, there he is. Look at Brandon. I'm going to hear about it in the next break.
He's not mad. He's just disappointed.
Graziano, what are you looking for on day 1 of the draft, a week from tonight?
I want to see the Chiefs do the same thing as Damian wants to see the Jets do, which is get an offensive playmaker for Patrick Mahomes. I do think there's a chance they lean toward edge rusher if one is there, but imagine Patrick Mahomes with someone like a Jordan Tyson, assuming he can get and stay healthy, or Kenyon Sadiq, the dynamic tight end from Oregon. Wouldn't this be an incredible replacement for Travis Kelce when he ultimately decides to move on, and a guy that you could use in the meantime to help you score some?
Why are you not shaking your head at that, Mike T, when it's so obviously a good thought?
Yeah, I like those players, but I love the fact that I want them to draft a corner. I just think it's really hard to lose 3 corners, 2 really good starters in Jalen Watson, Trent McDuffie, and I think that's an urgent need for the Chiefs.
But if the top corners are gone by 9, right? Like, does that make sense when you're also picking 29 and you're also picking 40? I think that may be the way the Chiefs are looking at this.
The top corners is I think there's really one. There's Mansour Delane.
There's one.
This guy Jermad McCoy is another, but he's got injury concerns.
We don't know for sure, right?
I think 9 would be very rich for him. So we'll see. If Mansour Delane is on the board, you're saying the Chiefs should take him.
Yes, because I think you could cover up offensive deficiencies. I don't think you could cover up corner needs.
All right, give me one. Sorry.
I think the Chiefs are sick of trying to cover up their offensive deficiencies with defense the last couple of years.
And Patrick Mahomes is yelling and screaming, get me a playmaker.
Exactly.
Mike T, give me something you want to see a week from tonight.
Jeremiyah Love falling to 7 to the Washington Commanders with a healthy Jaden Daniels. 2 years ago, Jaden Daniels was on the precipice of being a superstar. Pair him with arguably the best player in the draft, Greeny. I don't know if he gets to 7, but could you imagine a backfield for the next decade of Jaden Daniels with Jeremiyah Love? I think that would be an ideal situation for the Commanders.
D, what I was looking at your notes. You think that's a perfect fit, yes?
Absolutely. Listen, the RPO game last year went down because Jaden Daniels was hurt. And Jordan Love in the backfield, that would be absolutely terrifying. And here's why I like it so much, because the Washington Commanders have been investing resources into their offensive line. It doesn't make sense for me, like Jeremiyah Love, to go to the Titans, because I don't think the Titans' offensive line is all that great. But for Washington, it makes a lot more sense, and I would love that move.
Let me put this in the form of a question, though, Dan. I believe if the Commanders are going to get Jeremiyah Love in this draft, they're going to have to trade up to do it.
It sounds like there's a chance Jeremiyah Love could go earlier than 7. There's a couple teams in front that seem interested, and also it might be a guy that I know teams don't like to trade up for running backs, but teams love this player, and it's a thin draft.
Yes, there's a lot of love for Love in this NFL draft, and we are just getting rolling. Arizona is one of the places
that he will do, and there's been some movement in Mel's final mock. Mel has Dallas acquiring the 6th overall pick from Cleveland, with the Cowboys selecting Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles. Cowboys haven't had a top 10 pick since they took another Buckeye, Ezekiel Elliott, 4th overall in 2016. Styles is one of 4 Buckeyes Mel has in his top 10, along with Arvell Reese to the Cardinals at 3, Caleb Downs to the Giants at 5, Carnell Tate to the Commanders at 7. The last time any school had 4 top 10 picks in a single draft, another Big Ten team, that was Michigan State in 1967. Former Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson expected to be the second quarterback selected in the draft. But the big question heading into next week's draft is where? What round? Mel has the Arizona Cardinals trading up into the first round at 30 to take Simpson. Pleasure to welcome in Mel Kiper Jr., really the godfather of this process. Mel, always enjoy getting to visit with you, and I'm fascinated by the idea of the game tape's done, but players rise up boards by virtue of how they test and how they interview in the pre-draft process. Who has most improved his positioning as you understand it?
Yeah, I think when you put together the season and the rare talent, and that's why I projected this trade, Scott, it's Sonny Styles, a linebacker from Ohio State. Now, he can be off ball. He can be moving around. Keep in mind, if he goes to, say, Dallas in that trade, you're chasing down Jaden, Jalen, and Jackson, right? The 3 quarterbacks, and he can do that. All of a sudden now you got this guy that people are talking about, Arvell Reese. Why not a guy who had 13 more tackles than Arvell Reese and led the Buckeyes in tackles to test like he did on the heels of a great year on the field? So you're not overreacting to a workout. You're taking on-field tape performance in conjunction with workout. You're putting it together, and you could make a strong case, Scott. He's ascended all the way up to be the second, third best player in this draft on talent and on production and on the workout.
I appreciate that caveat that it's not just that he looked good with his shirt off and ran fast. It's also with the tape. Now, you also know, Mel, that teams can sour on someone. You could just sit in the room and something about the way someone answers questions or something about what you find in talking to coaches and scouts, maybe someone, they sour on a player. Is there someone that you think has slid a bit after the game tape?
The one I don't understand, Scott, and it kind of is one I guess I'm going to be out there and on that island. I don't understand why Chris Brazel II from Tennessee isn't considered a first-round pick or at worst an early second-round pick. Inconsistent catching the ball. So what's he lacking? That's one I don't get why he's not. I put him in the late second in New England, right? We've had a ton, Scott, of wide receivers, from Devontae Adams to George Pickens to DK Metcalf to T. Higgins. The list goes on and on of A.J. Brown. I can go for 20 names off the top of my head of second-round wide receivers in the NFL that did really well. I think Chris Brazel II will be one of those guys coming out of Tennessee. If he gets to the third round, I'll be screaming as loud as I do with Shador, Scott.
Is there a star outside the top 10? And I'm asking you to shift your focus outside of the areas where we could probably find some stars. But someone, Mel, that you feel this guy's got it and he'll be a star, maybe outside of your top 10.
I'll tell you what, there's a cornerback, Scott, that's in the second round now that played like a first rounder, is Avion Terrell at Clemson. When you watch Clemson, now they underachieved this year. They didn't live up to the hype from August. We thought they'd be playing maybe for a national championship. Things didn't happen, right? Some guys underperformed. Avion Terrell did not, Scott. He's out there. He anticipates. He plays with savvy. He's got great instincts, ball skills. He's tough. He just shows up. And Antonio Williams, the other wide receiver there, let's give him a lot of credit. This kid had a little minor injury here and there, but caught the ball, got open. You watch Cade Klubnik, and Antonio Williams is a guy that catches your eye. While Clemson didn't live up to expectations, 2 players, one on offense, one on defense, I like a lot, and I think are going to be really good second-round picks.
My final question was going to be a hill you're willing to die on. You've already answered it. You've already identified a guy that could be your Shador if he were to slip. So let me throw a curveball at you. You do have some trades in your final mock. I'm interested in your sense of how willing teams will be to trade next year's draft capital to move up in this year's draft, given how loaded the 27 draft appears to be.
You never know, Scott. I was actually working tonight on guys for next year's drafts, not just quarterbacks next year. Think about Jeremiah Smith, who was with Carnell Tate at Ohio State. Great receiver. Been waiting for him to be draft eligible, right? So he's going to be in that group. So, yes, I think there will be a case where, you look at that draft next year, how strong it is in the top 15 to 20. Teams will be reluctant. They're just going to try to get picks for next year, too, if they can. But if a team sees a player, Scott, and they want to go get them, these coaches are about winning now. They're not worrying about next year's draft because next year's draft may be a different coach. So these coaches that have to win are going to try to identify a guy, find it, he slides through the cracks, let's get him, and other teams will take advantage of that and stockpile for next year.
Love it. It's your time of year. I love